To Be is the third track off the Sparkle EP. If you've been following our socials in the last week or so, you'll be know we're revisiting our songs, starting back from the Sparkle EP, taking us up to Canvas, the newest EP that is being released in July. You may have also seen that I did a deep dive on the first track of this EP, which was The Ladder, and today I'll be taking you on a deep dive into Cool To Be, the songwriting and the influences that we had as a band behind the track. This song ended up being based a lot around tension and release, using the dominant chords. These build tension in the song, so the listener really wants it to resolve. The big release obviously being the chorus, which is a huge chorus, making it one of my favourite songs on the EP. Another key element of Cool To Be, we call it a mid-tempo song. Mid-tempo and Darko mindset is anything between 150 and probably pushing 190, anything under 200 BPM, which for most bands and most people that will also be very fast, but it does give that dynamic change from all the other fast songs on the EP and in our set. It also contains a very important musical theme. It's something that we decided to weave through the full musical landscape, bringing it back in every EP. So have a listen, see if you can hear where that does come back over the EPs. History. So when Cool To Be first started, the demo was actually called Patchwork until it was given its proper name. I think Chris and I were working on a different song. I can't remember exactly what the song was at the time, but Chris had a few of these riffs kicking about from the song. I think it was some of the key elements of the song, which is the first riff, and definitely the with this beautiful little lead line that he wrote over the top of that as well. So they were already there. As I said, he was working on a different song. I just took the riffs away and started working on them myself. Initially it was much longer, it was probably about 5 minutes, and it had riffs such as something like that. So that riff was actually in the song as well. And you can hear there it definitely, there's key elements from what stayed in the song. We've got the E minor voicing just with the root, the flat 7 and the third. Again, A7, which we've used a lot in the song, but and a lovely A dominant 11 chord, creating a lot of tension there as well. So still fits with the themes of building tension and release, but it just didn't seem necessary, so we wanted to refine it down. 2020, we were in and out of lockdown. Chris and I actually lived together. We would demo some of these songs, trying out some vocal ideas ourselves. This was before actually Tom had joined the band. Dan had gone to Australia already, yeah, we would read books as just some material, then try different vocal melodies over the top. And actually pretty much the chorus was there, a lot of elements of the chorus, the hi ho, which is always reminds me of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, hi ho, which then Tom developed into an absolutely cracking chorus, and it does complement it when a great singer like himself is singing it and not just me squawking over the guitars. Once we'd sent it to Tom and he had fleshed out some more ideas, we then broke it down again, pulled some riffs out. I think it was really based on this huge chorus and not having too much more, really wanting to kind of like focus on all the good points and flesh out all the bits that sounded cool but weren't necessary. And then Patchwork became Cool To Be formed. And even when we got to the studio with Will Duff, we were hashing bits out, creating a shorter, more concise, stronger song than a 5-minute, possibly great journey through different things, but I don't think it was needed, especially as after we'd had that outlet with The Ladder at the beginning of the EP. It was nice to have a concise, more pop song. In my last video, I was talking about influences from friends and bands in our local UK scene and European scene. And of course, one of my biggest influences for writing is Chris Brown, the other guitarist from Darko. When he would come with song ideas or riffs, I inevitably start writing influenced by this. Cool to Be is a great example. That I continued writing Cool to Be based on things that he had written, but it does transfer to a lot of other songs. Maybe he'll come with a full song which we'll learn him and play, and I really love the ideas that he had, and that will inspire me to write some riffs. Maybe that seems obvious as we're in the sort of same band together. The sound of the band develops off being influenced by each other. So I mentioned briefly the theme, which is the verse of Cool to Be. This is a fairly simple idea of minor and major thirds. With a fifth in the bass, making it sound really nice and warm. With a slightly more unusual time signature, moving the chords at a slightly more unexpected feel than what you'd usually have. Just a very pleasant chord progression, and it lends itself to a fantastic verse written by Tom there. And the lead line over the top. It's hammer-ons and slides to give it a nice smooth legato feel. And some close harmonies to build tension, to bring you back to the beginning again. Really great line. I love that line. Again, it's something inspirational, the stuff that Chris writes, and I get to compliment with my playing. Going further into the tension and release, I've spoken about a couple of methods that we have used briefly in it. We build, usually live, straight up before the song with because we're a step down, we've got B flat major 7 chord with an open string octave on the 7, really creating that eerie sound that you just want to go somewhere before we go. And when you get to that E minor, it really kind of releases there, and you get that bouncy first initial riff there. This comes back a bit later on. You've got the B major 7 again. And then you've got a G dominant chord with again an open string creating unease there. Drops into the verse, which opens up with an E minor again, so just creating tension, dropping into the next sections. I've used that chord then again a bit later on in the song, just to bring the colour from those chords and apply them into another part of the song. It's got quite a satisfying move where you don't have to move your hand that much to take you to this G11, G dominant 11. So you got the B flat major 7 to the G11. The chorus, again, I've mentioned a couple of times, is that big hit. The vocal line takes the lead there and just is an absolute killer. The first time we just have the chords there. The second time I do a very rare thing, which is change pickup. So the guitar is interestingly modded by Chris Brown. On the original model, I had another flick switch. It was a 5-way that went round. I just found I just couldn't quickly change pickup during songs. I didn't enjoy it at all, and then the knob kept falling off. So I swapped it out. Instead of a 5-way, then you've got push-pulls on these. And then this one's just a classic 3-way selector. Anyway, so most of the time I'm on my bridge pickup. But then I can just tap that, go to my neck pickup. Just rolls out the edges. It's quite nice and spiky there. But what I wanted to do is create that warm, rolled off at the edges tone, very much influenced by the guitar tone on the lead lines for the choruses from While She Sleeps. They did some neck pickup lead lines, which when I was playing this and playing these arpeggios over the top, I was like, oh, let me try that. Sounded really good and felt like it complemented, lets the vocals sing over the top without being too harsh and battling for the same ground. In regards to what I'm playing over the top, it's just simple arpeggios sliding together. It's, if you were looking at it bare bones, essentially what it is two positions of an E minor, or in a step down, it would be two positions of the D minor. So D minor, D minor. But of course, when you've got the chords underneath it, it's a B flat major 7. And then to travel between the two, a little slide up, and then a hammer on there. Held note. And at the end of that rotation, again bringing in some tension and release. So the end of the riff creating first bit's a major 3rd interval, but then I'm dropping the 3rd down a tone to create this major 2nd. Okay, this horrible sound to make you want to go, where's home? And then back to the major 7 arpeggio, which feels nice and homely again. So again, another method of tension building at the end of every riff, which is all over this song. The heavy riff is very much inspired by Protest the Hero-esque type lines. Yeah, just wanted a groovy riff, wanted to make it extended so each version is just slightly different. And then the syncopated D minor at the end to give it that kind of funky groove. And then alternating it. Slightly different notes on the second time around and bring the first time back again. And then a little 4th time ending with 2 syncopated D minors. Yeah, really happy with that came out. It's got awesome kind of like double pedal following it as well, which makes it really fun to play. It's difficult, but fun. Finally, left field funk section, which is taking the D minor and the G7. And I think really because I started using this G7 chord with the D minor. It's just the chord progression from Use Me. If it was in a standard tuning, which is likely where I was jamming around with it, so yes, Use Me by Bill Withers, just a fantastic song. So yeah, much influence from that. And you could say that that whole funk section, although it's kind of like a nice little groove in itself, it does have that sense of uneasiness, like, whoa, why is this happening in a Darko song? Some people might love it, some people are like, what is happening? Creating this tension, especially with the chord voicings, but also just the feel of it, just like, is this meant to be there, or just is unexpected section to drop into. This heavy beatdown version of the first riff again, which then includes a diminished or just a horrible chord at the end of that, creating even more tension again and again and again, then just finally giving into that last chorus. Huge release where you hear that chorus and you're like, whoa! And I think, yeah, those choruses, although fantastic on their own, they just get elevated by the amount of tension that's built in all these other riffs, using these open voicings, lots of G7, and a little bit of a Bill Withers groove at the end as well. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it. It's always good to revisit what you've done in the past, something that you created. It did really remind me of all these further fun influences. If you'd like to learn Cultivate, we do have the tabs available at lockdoorrecords.co.uk along with the whole of Sparkle. So visit lockdoorrecords.co.uk to get those. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you soon.